Hi, this is Stacy with Lily Bean Crafts by Stacy. Welcome back. And if it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. So I'm starting to work on a couple of St. Patrick's Day cups, and I just had this vision of doing a really shiny green with the gold champagne colored chunky glitters. So I came up with this idea to start with a 17-ounce wine tumbler that I got from the Stainless Depot, and I prepped it and sanded it, and I sprayed it with Skinny Dip, which I got from Color Shot spray paints, and I let that dry. I covered it with my glitter glue, and now I'm going in with Goddess from Peachy Olive Glitters, and this is a fine cut glitter. And I wanted to have just a fine cut glitter to go on the bottom of the peekaboo so that it didn't really take away from the fact that I'm going to be doing a chunky champagne color on the top of it. So I'm going to get full coverage here, and then I'm going to go ahead and let this dry. And once it's dry, I'm going to go in with another coat of my glitter glue, let that dry for 4 hours, and here I am going in with my first coat of epoxy. I'm going in with 20 mLs of my facet epoxy, and I'm going to go ahead and get some good coverage on this. And once this is dried for about 2.5 to 3 hours, I'm going to go in with another 10 mLs of my facet epoxy right over it and let that dry for 4 hours. And then we're going to start working on the peekaboo. And since St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner, I went ahead and I printed out some shamrocks that I found right on my Cricut. And I just printed them out in some different sizes. I'm using a removable vinyl here because this is easy for me to work with. And I'm just going to put them like no rhyme or reason, just all over the tumbler. I didn't want to have a lot of them. I didn't want it to be overwhelming with shamrocks. I just wanted to kind of keep it light. So I just printed out a couple of them and placed them on there. And once I have them on there, I'm going to take this outside and I'm going to spray paint it full coverage with the color Kale, which is a darker green that I got from Color Shot spray paints. And once that is all dry, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the foil. And like I said, I had found some nail art on Pinterest, and it was, like I said, a real shiny green with some champagne gold in it. And I just wanted to kind of get that same look. So I decided to pull out some of my foils. And these are just some foils that I got from Amazon, the Deco Art brand. And I'm going to take a little bit of my glitter glue. I just poured it into one of those little paint trays that I got from the dollar store. I'm going to take a paintbrush and I'm just going to try to get some full coverage on here. I originally started off with a little chip brush and I just didn't like the way that it was applying. And this foil glue is so sticky that any brush that I use is going to be destroyed when I'm done with it. So I wanted to use something that wasn't going to be, a bad idea for me to have to just throw in the garbage. So I'm going in with a little eye brush that I got from the dollar store. And I'm just going to go ahead and cover this over the whole thing. I'm not worried about the bottom because I am going to be doing a waterfall of glitter. So that's not going to be seen anyways. So I really just focused on getting full coverage on the main portion of the tumbler. And once this dries, I'll kind of show you how I applied the foils. I was trying to not go for a distressed look on this. Wanted to make it a little bit nicer. So I'm just going to very carefully take the edge of my foil and try not to have it just fall onto where all the glue is on the tumbler. So I'm just going to take my time and roll out and really try to not get a lot of crinkles with this and just take my time slowly applying this to the tumbler. Once I have so much of it on there, I'm going to go ahead and pull it off and then go ahead and start on the next section. I kind of just did this throughout the entire thing. Reality is that I make distressed tumblers, so in my opinion, it's very nice, but it does have a slight distressed look to it, and I'm okay with that. While I'm carefully placing this foil, I just wanted to remind you that if you haven't done so yet, check out my Lily Bean Crafters Community Facebook group. I'm hoping to start going live by the end of this month. at least once a week. So I would love to have you come join me while I do that. And also, any of my affiliates, if they're having any sales or anything, I like to always post it on there. So go ahead and check it out. I'll have it linked in the description. Now that I have it all around the top, I'm just going to check the bottom. I try not to have any exposed sticky spots left over from the glue. That is something that I don't want to take a chance on repelling once I epoxy it. So I am going to just kind of go over any spots that feel like they might be a little bit sticky just to make sure that I get that covered up. And then once this is all done, I do take it outside and I spray it with my gloss clear coat sealant that I got from Color Shot spray paints, just to make sure that there's nothing sticky and it's all sealed up before I move on to epoxy. And before I put that epoxy coat on, I want to make sure that I take off all of my removable vinyl to expose the peekaboo underneath. What was great about doing the foil over the spray paint is it made a border around each of the shamrocks for me. So now I will not have to make an offset and do a border, because it looks really cool having the darkened parts of the spray paint come through right around the outer rim of each of the shamrocks. And I did notice that there was a few little scratches in there that I didn't want to be in there. So I did take my little nail polish bottle of my foil glue, and this was something that I got from Southern Belle glitters when I was at TUMBLER. I don't think they sell them like this. So, but I did use this to just go ahead and just a couple of the spots that are just a little bit messed up, I went ahead and I refoiled over it because, like I said, I was trying to make this as clean as possible. And then once I have this all done, I'm going to go ahead and get that coat of my spray sealant on there and get my next coat of epoxy on there. So now that all of the spray paint is dry, I'm going to go ahead and take some of my glitter glue and just put it around the bottom portion. I do want to bring it up a little bit into the shamrocks because I'm going to be sprinkling and doing the waterfall look with my chunky champagne glitter. And I thought that this would be a perfect time for me to use my glitter glue to use this application. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it fully covered on the bottom here. And then I'm going to take my glitter, which is Athena from Peachy Olive Glitters. I'm going to put it all around the bottom rim, and then I'm just going to tilt it and do the waterfall look all the way around, having it kind of fall into the lower shamrocks so that they're a part of it. And then once I have that fully coated, I am going to take my parchment paper and I'm just going to pat it down a little bit because this is a chunky glitter and I didn't want any pieces sticking up, and make this as easy as possible for me when I go into the epoxy coats. So now that my glitter has dried, I'm going to go in with another coat of my glitter glue right over this, set this off to the side, and let it dry for 4 hours. And now we're reaching the end of the process, so I'm going to go in with 15 mLs of my fast set epoxy, cover that glitter really good, make sure that everything is fully coated. I'm going to let this spin for 4 hours until it's completely dry. I'm going to sand everything down really good because there is a lot of little pieces that stick up even though I patted it down because it is a chunky glitter. And once that's done, I'm going to go in with another 10 mLs of my Flynn Sisters medium viscosity Artist Cure resin. Let that spin for 8 to 10 hours and then it will be all done. And here is my inspiration picture. This is kind of how I wanted it to turn out. And here is how the finished product of my tumbler looks. I feel like I came really close to it. It does still have a slightly distressed look to it, but that's just kind of who I am, and I'm really happy with it. I hope you liked this tutorial. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.